This is a final hearing involving the Miles children. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ronho is with us representing the children. Ms. Mullinax is with us representing the father, Andrew Miles, who is with us. Ms. Johnson, the mother, is not with us. She's not in the waiting room. This case was set for 10 o'clock. It's now 10:08. We will proceed in her absence. I will watch the waiting room for her. I'll list my waiting room has Connor Ward, Matthew Lindner, Heidi Elliott, Susan Lewis, and Elaine Lucero.
If I could, let me see. I think I just don't recognize one name, Your Honor. Can we bring everybody in?
Sure.
And Mr. Lindner is actually the attorney for Metro, I believe it's Metro Care that Romana Evans works for. And so he's requested to be present in the hearing as well with the witness Romana.
I don't have a Romano.
Romana Evans?
Unless she's with Mr. Lindner, I don't have her in the waiting room.
Okay.
We can see. She might be with him. I don't know.
Sure.
Is she She's just a witness that wants her lawyer present?
Well, Your Honor, I think it's that they provide services to the community. I'm not sure if it's a nonprofit or a government agency, but it is their practice when they have one of their employees testify that the attorney also be in the hearing.
Okay, who's their employee? Romana
Evans.
Okay. Well, let's just see if she's with him, because if not, he doesn't have an employee to represent.
Right. Thank you.
Mr. Lindner, if this is Judge Graham, if you'd unmute.
Yes, Your Honor.
They tell me that you're an attorney and you're here to represent on behalf of, you have an employee, but what's the name, Ms. Gutierrez?
Romana Evans, Your Honor.
Yeah, she's not in my waiting room. Is she with you?
She is not with me. Let me call her real quick. She had the subpoena and she knew this was here. I called her this morning and emailed her.
I'll watch. We'll go ahead and get started, but I'll watch the waiting room for her.
Okay, thank you so much, Your Honor.
No, thank you. Ms. Gutierrez, then you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think we're proceeding then as a post-answer default against the mother. I asked for judicial notice of the status hearing order, and particularly the e-certificate for the e-filing, that she is included on that, and that link was sent to her.
Okay, so noted.
Thank you, Your Honor. In addition to that, I had Miss Elliott also email her the link this morning.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Lewis, who do you work for?
The Amarillo Police Department.
And are you a certified police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been with APD?
About almost 5 years.
And how long have you been a certified police officer?
About 4.5.
Thank you. And did you respond to a call regarding Kia Johnson and Mariah Stewart on December 26th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you speak with Miss Stewart?
I spoke with Miss Stewart. It was at the Northwest Texas Hospital ER. It was a standalone ER on Georgia. I'm trying to think of the exact address. 4121 South Georgia.
Okay. And when you arrived, what observations did you make of Miss Stewart?
I immediately noticed that she had 2 black eyes and a small scratch on one of her cheeks.
And what did she state had occurred that caused those injuries?
She said that she was at a Christmas party on the 23rd for her work at FedEx, and she was in a conversation with Miss Johnson. Apparently the conversation had got kind of heated. Then it backed off. Miss Stewart told me that she thought that the conversation was just fine, and then suddenly Miss Johnson punched her. A small fight broke out. They separated. That was about the extent that I got as far as the fight itself.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Have you been given Petitioner's Exhibits 3 and 4 to review?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is Petitioner's Exhibit 3 a copy of the incident report regarding Ms. Stewart and Ms. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we offer Petitioner's Exhibit number 3.
All right. Objections?
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioners 3 is admitted.
Thank you. And Ms. Lewis, have you, regarding petitioner's exhibit 4, is this a true and correct depiction of what you saw that day in these pictures?
Yes, ma'am.
And who are these pictures of?
These are of Miss Stewart.
And are those pictures of the injuries she sustained to her face?
Yes, on the day that I met with her.
All right. Your Honor, we also offer petitioner's exhibit 4.
Objections? Okay, 4 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Mullinax,
No questions.
Ms. Naranjo.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. If there's nothing further, can Officer Lewis be excused?
No objection.
Okay.
No objection.
All right, Officer Lewis, thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your service. I'll remove you so you can go about your day's business.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we still don't have anyone else in the waiting room. So, Ms. Gutierrez, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Officer Ward as its witness.
All right. Officer Ward, if you'd raise your right hand, please. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. All right, I couldn't hear you, but you were breaking up. Maybe. Can y'all hear him?
Yes, sir.
No,
Is that better?
It's breaking up. You might try, Officer, you might try turning off your video. Sometimes that helps with the audio.
Is it a little bit better, sir?
Yes, sir. That's much better. Thank you. If you'd raise your right hand, you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. If you would, Mr. Gutierrez, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Ward, have you reviewed petitioner's exhibits number 1 and 2?
No, ma'am. I just got the subpoena, but if it's the same ones from the last time I was here, I remember them vividly.
Yes, sir. And so petitioner's exhibit 1 is a copy of the incident report you created regarding an incident with Kia Johnson on December 7th of 2025. Is that correct?
Hold on.
Oh, he's mumbling. Okay, Your Honor, I could probably offer these exhibits and let Mr. Ward go if that works for the court.
It's fine with me.
okay.
I've looked at the exhibits that were provided to me. So, are there any objections to what was it? Petitioners 1 and
Yes, Your Honor. Petitioner's exhibit 1 and 2.
2. Okay. Any objections?
No objection.
Okay. Petitioners 1 and 2 are admitted. If no one has questions for Officer Ward, then Officer Ward, if you can hear me, I'll go ahead and remove you so you can go about your day's business. Thank you for your testimony and thank you for your service.
Okay, he's messaging. All right, Your Honor. And is Miss Evans in the waiting room yet?
No, ma'am. I still don't have anyone else in the waiting room.
Okay. Let me check my email, see if I have anything from her.
Okay.
I don't, Your Honor, but I can see Mr. Lindner's on the phone. Can we try giving them just a couple of minutes, please? Thank you.
Your Honor, I can't get through to her. I keep calling her number and I get no response. I've emailed her the link to the hearing. I've emailed her the registration link on several occasions. She has not responded. I don't know if something came up. I know that she was in clinic today, I believe.
Okay.
So if somebody came in and there was a crisis situation or something that might have delayed her, I haven't heard. I can only speculate, Judge.
Okay. Well, I'll keep watching the waiting room. We'll see if she shows up.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Andrew Miles as its witness.
Okay.
And Aaron, I apologize. Do you want to call him instead of me, or do you want me to go ahead?
You're fine.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Miles, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Do you have video? There you are. Okay. Sir, if you'd raise your right hand, do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Miles, you are the father of Jokori, Malaysia, and Amaya. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you and Ms. Johnson were previously married, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so there's a prior order regarding custody of the children, is that correct as well?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your general understanding of that custody order?
I was the non-conservator. She was the conservator.
And by that, do you mean she was the main one that had custody of the kids?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you given like visitation rights, like the weekend or standard possession order?
It was supposed to be standard possession order, and due to the distance, it was like really just like long weekends. But I normally go see them twice a month.
Okay. What year was that order rendered?
2021.
And was that prior to what you became aware of as the CPS cases of Ms. Johnson in 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
And would you agree things have drastically changed regarding the condition and care of the children since that first order?
I would agree.
All right. Mr. Miles, when children, if I may ask about outcries, and by that I'm asking what statements have the children made regarding abuse and neglect? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you child by child. Regarding Jokori, what statements has Jokori made regarding traumatic events that occurred while he was in Ms. Johnson's care?
He told me that her and Kevon fought a lot in front of them. He told me of an incident where he accidentally locked the keys in the car the morning before school, and she hit him in the nose and made his nose bleed. There was an incident him and Junior were Desmond, sorry, were fighting, and she hit Jokori with a broomstick and tried to throw a chair at Junior, but it got stuck in the doorway.
Okay, and have there been any other statements that caused you concern made by Jokori?
There may have been, but I can't remember them.
Okay, that's fine. And when you say that Jokori stated Mom and Kevon fought a lot, did Jokori specify if he meant physically fighting?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Regarding Amaya, can you tell us what statements she has made regarding traumatic events occurring in the care of Ms. Johnson?
Just the fighting and the witnessing of the abuse to the siblings.
Do you recall any details of what Amaya stated she witnessed?
She said she's seen the Jokori get hit with the broom. She's seen Malaysia get hit in the mouth. She's seen the fights with Kevon.
And regarding Malaysia, what statements has Malaysia made regarding any trauma experienced while in the care of Ms. Johnson?
She also seen the fights with Kevon. She was hit in the mouth. I don't know what the reason behind it before. There is no reason for it, but she was hit in the mouth, and Kia knocked her tooth out when she hit her in the mouth.
Do you believe that Ms. Johnson presents a physical danger to the well-being of these children?
I do.
Do you believe that she presents a danger to their emotional health as well?
Yes.
Okay. Are you wanting the court to name you as sole managing conservator of these children?
I do want that.
In regards to Ms. Johnson, what do the children state, if anything, regarding visitation with Ms. Johnson?
They don't want to see her nor speak to her.
And are all three children stating this?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
And what type of help have you gotten the children to address the trauma?
They see their the mental therapist, Miss Lulu. I can't pronounce her full name. We just call her Lulu. And then they see Miss Romana for life skills.
And is Miss Lulu a therapist?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you helping the children to see both of those providers, is that you helping the children emotionally and with their mental health?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also make sure the children attend school every day?
Yes.
And do you help them with their homework?
Yes.
And do you provide for all of their physical needs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In regards to finances, would you agree it's expensive to raise one child, let alone 3 children?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you believing, or let me rephrase that. Do you believe that Miss Kia Johnson is currently employed?
Yes.
And she is their mother, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you believe it is in the children's best interest that she pay child support?
I do.
And that would help with food, clothing, and education as well. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have health insurance on the children provided through your employer?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know if Miss Johnson has health insurance available to her through her employer?
I do not know that.
Now, if the children are currently in the foster care, well, not foster care, but in the department's care, as this case is ongoing, they are statutorily covered by Medicaid. However, do you understand if the court dismisses the department today, that Medicaid will end at the end of the month?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your plan for health care for the children once that Medicaid coverage ends?
I would probably reapply for Medicaid. If not available, then I would probably just inquire for the health insurance through my employer.
Okay. And so, thank you. What do you think is best for the children in regards to visitation with their mother?
I don't think they should see her. Not until they're ready, if they're ever ready.
And do you think you should be the decider of whether or not the children are ready and it's safe?
Yes, me along with their therapist.
Okay. Okay, I pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Mullinex.
Andrew, is it your understanding on the permanency report that the department is requesting that Kia's rights be terminated?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you be agreeable with that?
I am definitely agreeable with that.
And she was going to sign a relinquishment, but it just didn't happen. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Okay. And if her rights are not terminated, that you're asking for sole managing and for her to have no contact, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You've had the kids as a result of the department being involved since when?
Since July of last year.
Okay. And so are you asking that the court stop your child support as far back as he can?
Yes, ma'am.
We filed a cross petition back in, I think, February, and you've had the kids and you've been paying child support since July of 2025. Is that correct?
I actually had the kids since May of 2025.
Okay.
But the case started in July.
Okay.
So, yes.
So you've been paying child support. It comes out of your check.
Yes, ma'am.
I pass the witness.
Did Kendra already go? Oh, you're muted, Your Honor.
That's why you didn't ask questions. You couldn't hear. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Miles, what kind of relationship do the children have with you?
We have a great relationship. We talk, we laugh, we play, we go outside, we go to parks.
And when was the last time the children had any in-person contact with Ms. Johnson?
November of last year.
And do you believe that Ms. Johnson has knowingly placed or knowingly allowed the children to remain in conditions or surroundings which endanger their physical or emotional well-being?
Yes, when they were with her, definitely.
Do you believe that she also engaged in conduct that knowingly placed the children with persons who engaged in conduct that might endanger them?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you think it's in the children's best interest that Ms. Johnson's rights be terminated today?
I do.
Do you believe if she were to maintain her rights, do you think she'd pay child support to you?
I don't believe she would.
I'll pass the witness.
All right. Anyone have further questions for Mr. Miles?
Just one follow-up question.
Okay.
Mr. Miles, do you understand that if the court were to terminate Ms. Johnson's parental rights, that it would definitely mean you wouldn't have any child support from her?
I do understand that.
Okay. And even with that, you prefer that her parental rights be terminated. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Pass the witness.
Anyone else? All right, then, Ms. Gutierrez, any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor, the department. Oh, it looks like Mr. Linder's logged in.
I haven't been able to reach Miss Evans. I don't know what's going on.
That's okay. Your Honor, I'll go ahead and pass on calling Ms. Evans as a witness. I'm sure she's dealing with some type of emergency. I appreciate you showing though, Mr. Lindner.
Yeah, no, I really apologize. We discussed it on Friday. She was eager to testify, and I know she wouldn't not be here save for something very, very important, especially not, she's not the type who would not, respond or answer her phone or show up for a hearing when she knew about it.
I believe she's testified in the previous hearings. I recall her, and I agree with you. I'm sure something's come up, but
yes. Your Honor.
Anyway, they're waiving her as a witness, Mr. Lindner, so you are free to go.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, everybody. My apologies on behalf of
No problem. No problem at all. All right, Ms. Gutierrez.
The department calls Elaine Lucero as its witness.
Okay. Ms. Lucero, there you are. If you'd raise your right hand, please. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Lucero, understand you're a family-based safety services worker. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me what the family-based safety services program is?
So our program was created to work with families where there have been concerns identified for the safety of the children. We work in helping to provide services to both the parents and the children in an effort to mitigate any safety issues or concerns that are occurring within the family.
Thank you. And what are your duties as a worker in that program?
So my duties are to make contact with the parents on a regular basis, usually about 2 to 3 times a month, and also make contact with the children, making referrals out to community resources and following up to ensure that that things are going well with those service providers.
Okay. And have you worked such a case with Ms. Kia Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
And is she the mother of Jokori, Amaya, and Malaysia?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have Jokori's date of birth in front of you?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Can you provide that, please?
It is August the 21st of 2014.
And what is Malaysia's date of birth?
Malaysia's is September 7th, 2015.
And what is Amaya's?
It is March the 20th, 2018.
And who is their father?
Their father's Andrew Miles.
And it looks like the department received an initial intake on the family on June 9th of 2025. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what were the intake allegations?
There was allegations of physical abuse towards Desmond Jr., which is one of her older children, and additional concerns of physical abuse to Malaysia and Jokori, both by Miss Johnson, assaulting the both of them.
Okay. And was that the intake? What the additional details you provided, was that the intake for July 6th of 2025, or was that still the June 9th intake?
That was June 9th.
Okay, thank you. And it looks like there was another intake on July 6th of 2025. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what were those intake details?
So during that intake, there was a report to law enforcement that Kia had stabbed her boyfriend at the time, Kevon McDowell, and that the 3 older children were there at the residence when this incident occurred.
Okay. And since we're talking about older children being in the home, let's briefly go over all 6 children or 7 children's involvement in the case, okay?
Okay.
For Andrew Miles and his kids, that is Malaysia, Amaya, and Jokori. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And those are Kia's biological children. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Kia also has a biological son, Desmond Long Jr. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
She as well has a biological child named Aaliyah Pendleton or Aaliyah Johnson. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
In addition to those children, she has 2 nieces that she cares for named Odyssey Suarez and Zanaya Taylor. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
And for the first intake, Kia had custody of all of these children. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And as well for the second intake, do you recall if Desmond had gone to live with his father at that point, or was it during that investigation that it occurred?
So Desmond has lived with his father since he was fairly small. He's lived with him for years, but he was present during the incident.
Okay.
And so
Thank
he
you,
used to visit just on the weekends.
Thank you, Ms. Lucero. Let's see, you were beginning to give us the details of the July 6, 2025 intake. Can you continue, please?
Yes. The report that was made was that Kia had stabbed her boyfriend Kevon with scissors. At that time, Odyssey, Zanaya and Aaliyah were present for that altercation. And they intervened by taking the scissors from Miss Johnson. And at that time, Miss Johnson was arrested and taken to jail.
And do you have the date of birth for Zanaya?
Yes, ma'am. It is, give me 1 second. It's January 15th, 2010.
And what is the date of birth for Aaliyah?
Aaliyah's is December the 30th, 2012.
And what is the date of birth for Odyssey?
May 23rd, 2014.
And do you recall how old Desmond Long is?
I believe, give me 1 second. I was looking at that just now. I believe he is 14, maybe 15.
Would you agree he is a minor?
Yes, ma'am.
And would you agree he's either 15 or younger?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so none of the children in the home that we've identified here are adults, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. None of them are.
Okay, and the youngest children are the Miles children, is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Now, during that investigation, what did the department end up doing regarding placement of the children to try to ensure their safety?
There was parental child safety placements that were entered for 2 of the children, for Odyssey and Zanaya. And then Aaliyah, she was initially in a parental child safety placement, but then went to stay with her father at the time.
Okay, and the Miles children were living with their father, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he had agreed to keep him there and to keep them safe, is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Let's see here. And from that investigation, the court ordered Ms. Johnson to participate in the family-based safety program. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that is where you stepped in as a worker. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Can you tell me about the services that Ms. Johnson was offered in the family-based safety program?
Yes, ma'am. She was offered parenting, rational behavior training course. We did have concerns with substance abuse, so she was referred to complete an OSAR assessment. through that OSAR assessment, because it is self-reported. Any type of recommendations that are given are via the self-report. There was no recommendations at that time. She also was attending the domestic violence support group and their individual counseling, as well as family counseling.
Okay, so it sounds like the department was attempting to address her parenting skills. Would you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Her, the domestic violence with her as a victim, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did the department also have concerns regarding her as a perpetrator of violence?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is the department trying to address that?
So we had made a referral over for the WAVE program, which is sort of like BIP. It's for women who are perpetrators of violence. And because the report of her stabbing Kevon was dropped, because those charges were dropped, they were not willing to accept her into the WAVE program. So we made recommendations through her therapist that she complete an anger management course with her counselor.
Thank you. And was she working on that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
So on paper, would you agree that, during that order to participate in services case, that she was working her services?
Yes.
Can you tell me about the outcries that the children made during your family-based safety services case to you?
Yes. So the kids, the Miles children had reported concerns, specifically Jokori and Malaysia, of violence by Miss Johnson towards them. They'd indicated that she had hit Jokori in the face and busted his nose, that she had hit him with the broom and with the belt on various occasions. Malaysia had reported fear of Kia. From what all the children said, including the 3 older ones, Malaysia was the one who was targeted for most of the abuse. At one point, they indicated that Miss Johnson had punched her in the mouth and knocked out one of her teeth. And I know even in speaking with the school, there was concerns with her behaviors while she was attending school here in the Amarillo area, due to the abuse that was going on in the home. It was kind of coming out in her behaviors at school.
So is it fair to say we had at this point concerns of her violence with the children and substance abuse? Can you tell me about the concerns about Ms. Johnson's substance abuse?
Yes, there was various reports that she was drinking excessively. And then during these times, she was engaging in fights with other individuals. Of course, she didn't report this during the OSAR assessment, but it did come out from the kids that she was drinking and being out pretty late at night.
And when you say OSAR assessment, is that a substance abuse assessment?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was one of the services that the department asked her to complete and that she completed. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And are those assessments based on the client self-reporting?
Yes, ma'am.
And so if Ms. Johnson hypothetically didn't disclose any of this, do you think that would affect the results?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. What were the struggles with keeping the children placed with Mr. Miles during that family-based safety services case?
So the kids did report not wanting to even visit with Kia, let alone return to her care. And because at the time there was an order in place that she was primary custodian, she continued to make threats that she was going to get the children from him without any type of agreement between them.
Okay. And under those circumstances, in addition, let me withdraw that question. What occurred towards the end of that family-based safety services case that caused alarm for the department?
So there was a couple of incidents that we received police reports on in which Miss Johnson had continued to engage in domestic violence and physical violence towards other people. And during those incidents, there was continued alcohol use on her part.
And were those incidents, did they include what was testified to by Officer Lewis and Officer Ward here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And Elaine, have you reviewed petitioner's exhibit number 5?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that appear to be the law enforcement incident report regarding Kia stabbing Kayvon with scissors?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I offer petitioner's exhibit 5 as evidence.
All right, objections? All right, petitioner's 5 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Elaine, when did this family-based safety services start?
Let's see. It started, my initial assessment with her was July the 30th
Okay.
of 2025.
And these cases typically last about 6 months, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then in December, these 2 incidents occurred, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
When did the department find out about these 2 incidents?
So they were right before the final hearing. We were coming up for potential closure, and it was literally the morning of one of the hearings that we had.
Okay. And based on that, did the department determine that the children were in immediate danger?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that for their physical health and safety?
Yes, ma'am.
And a big contributor of that was Ms. Johnson not agreeing to leave the children with Mr. Miles. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Miles had an ongoing Office of the Attorney General filed case to try to get custody. Is that correct?
That's correct.
However, those hearings kept getting continued. Is that fair to say?
Yes, ma'am.
And so there was no court order in place to ensure the safety of the children from Ms. Johnson. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Let me interrupt for a second. Ms. Johnson just entered the waiting room. All right, for the record, the mother, Kia Johnson, has now joined the hearing. Ms. Gutierrez, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let me make note of that on my stuff too. All right. So Elaine, can you tell me about the reasonable efforts the department made to try to prevent removal?
Yes, there services provided, parental child safety placements that were entered. During the investigation stage, there was several safety plans that were put into place that were broken, which caused family base to become involved. There was an order to participate that was sought. We did include quite a bit of relatives and friends to try to assist in those temporary placements.
All right. However, the children were ultimately removed. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it correct that they were removed with orders?
Yes, ma'am.
And what occurred once the children were removed regarding the older 3 children, Aaliyah, Zanaya, and Odyssey?
Miss Johnson denied the department access to the children, and she took them and ran with them for a few days. So it took us a while to locate them.
And does that cause you concern with any potential in-person visitation for Miss Johnson with any of the children?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Molnatz.
Ms. Lucero, you were the worker for the entire case, is that right?
For the family-based case, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and during that family-based case, was Ms. Johnson having supervised visits with the kids, I guess, maybe in Dallas or online or something?
Yes, there was virtual visits between her and the Miles children. And there was one face-to-face visit that occurred where she went to Dallas to see them.
And at some point, was there, I guess, a statement to you from Mr. Miles that during the visit that Ms. Johnson was very intoxicated?
Yes, during one of the virtual visits, which at that point, following that, I started supervising those virtual visits every week.
And so during your supervision of those virtual visits, were there ever any concerns?
There was some disagreement between the parents at one point, but I do know during the visits, it was usually only one of the children, the youngest one, Amaya, that would get on. The other two children, either they would get on for a few minutes or they wouldn't get on at all. They didn't want to have contact with her.
So when the kids would get on, what was their demeanor toward their mom?
Just hi. With the two older ones, with Amaya or with Malaysia and Jokori, they would just tell her hi, really brief. At times they would get on because she would ask Amaya to go and get them, and they would, get on for a short period of time. Amaya was really the one who would talk to her about school and activities that she was involved in down there. But she was really the only one who attended those visits.
And so she did well in the family base, but then there started being other issues, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Johnson, do you have any questions for Ms. Lucero?
Yes, sir. During the time where Amaya was on the phone, was there any concerns of like, oh no, let me ask this. During where it was a claim that I was intoxicated during that visit, do you know that Andrew Miles was not on the video and it was Tiara, his I think it's his girlfriend or fiance?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to Ms. Johnson at this time. It appears that she's driving in the vehicle. I feel like I can see things flying by
I'm
in the window.
hands-free. I'm hands-free.
Your Honor, I think it's illegal to drive with a video
Ms.
conference.
Gutierrez, that's not my problem. That's Ms. Johnson's problem. Let's go ahead. Go ahead, ask your question, Ms. Johnson.
Are you aware that Andrew Miles was not in the video whenever Amaya was on the phone call during that virtual visit where he said I was intoxicated?
Yes.
So I remember from our last hearing, he had also made a statement saying that he had seen a drink in my hand, which would be impossible if he wasn't in the video, correct?
I don't know what the last hearing was involved, but there was other reports from people who were present in your home during that visit who informed me that you were intoxicated.
Did that have any effect on the phone call that was taking place if I was intoxicated?
Yes.
And how so?
From my understanding and speaking with you and the text message you received, there was an argument that ensued. And at that point, not only you, but Andrew had asked me to supervise those visits moving forward.
Okay. Do you know what the argument was about?
I believe from what I was told, Amaya was crying at the time.
And why was that?
I believe she had said she had wanted to see you or come home, something of that nature.
The statement was, how come the other kids get there and I don't?
You're breaking up, Ms. Johnson. We can't hear you.
Okay. The statement was made was, how come the other kids to be there and I don't?
Ms. Johnson, you're breaking up. We can't hear you. You're breaking up.
Okay, let me pull over. Sorry, Judge.
Yes,
Can you hear me now? Okay. The statement that was made was, how come the kids get to be there and I don't? Do you recall that statement?
I wasn't present for that visit. So that's the text message that I received from you saying that that's what she had said.
Okay. And are you aware there's a screenshot of her breaking down crying during that visit because she wanted to be there?
No.
Okay. During the family-based safety plan, how was I doing according to like being a parent and parenting the kids? And can you describe my parenting during that time?
During my contact with you at your home, whenever I would come out for visits, things seemed fine. But that was during my visits that were scheduled with you and the kids.
And you were allowed to pop up whenever you wanted, right?
Yes.
Was there ever any issues with me telling you, no, you can't come see the kids or anything during that time?
No.
Okay. Whenever the issues happened in December, were there any problems with my parenting during that time as well?
During the police report incidents?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
During my visits with you, no, but I would say there is concerns that there was police reports coming back.
Okay, no, now were those police reports concerning the kids? Were the kids ever in any danger?
I would not know. I wasn't there every day to say yes or no.
I mean, I'm for the most part, like every time you showed up, if you could say yes or no during the first part of it, before those reports, how come you cannot say yes or no right now?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to asked and answered.
Sustained.
So were the kids in any danger whenever you did see them, even after those police reports that took place 5 months ago from now?
During my visits with you, no.
Were the kids well fed, well taken care of, mental health stable? Were they going to visits, counseling? Were they doing everything that I was asked to do in the report?
And
They
Your Honor,
were
Or in the court order?
I'm going to object. This hearing is about the Miles children. Is she specifically asking about the Miles children, or is she talking about the older children in her home?
I'm asking about all the children.
Well, let's limit questions to these children involved in this case.
Okay, in the case with the children, even in the Miles children, even in December, were the kids around to even sustain any injuries or get hurt or be in danger?
The Miles children?
Yes.
No, they were in Dallas, in the Dallas area.
Okay, so during the December incident, and even before then, I have not put those kids in any danger, correct?
What time period? During my involvement?
Throughout the whole involvement.
During the FBSS case, the children are not in your care to even there be any concern during that time period.
Okay, so also during the incident where that case occurred was from July 5th of 2025, correct?
Yes, they were not in your care.
The reason for it.
During my
right, so they were never even. So even during the incident with Kevon, the kids weren't even present to be in danger.
The Miles children were not present, no, during that specific incident.
Okay, so I think throughout this whole case, it's safe to say that even like if those two kids, the two older ones, don't want to come, Amaya, it's safe to say Amaya has been wanting to come home and see me. And I think, is it not correct that the other kids wanted to visit, they just did not want to live with me?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to compound.
Yeah.
Compound question.
Sorry.
Okay, let me ask separately. I apologize. So during our conversations, did you not state that the two older ones don't want to live with me, but they want to visit me?
There was times they said that. There was times they did not want to have any contact with you at all. They were going back and forth.
Okay, but Amaya was very persistent, correct?
It was the same with Amaya. There was times she would go to therapy and say she wanted to have visits with you, times that she said she wanted to come see you, and there was times that she would say she did not want to return to your care.
Okay. I don't have any further questions, Your Honor.
Anyone else? Questions? All right, then, Ms. Gutierrez, any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. The department calls Heidi Elliott as its witness.
Ms. Elliott, if you'd raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Your Honor. Heidi, who do you work for?
St. Francis Ministries.
And what do you do for them?
I'm a permanency specialist.
And are you assigned to help Ms. Kia Johnson and Andrew Miles with this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And as a part of that, can you tell me what your duties are as a caseworker?
To help parents get set up on their services, offer them resources if needed, facilitate monthly visits with them.
All right. And have you filed a court report for this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is the court report asking for at the end as far as recommendations for Ms. Johnson with the Miles children?
That Kia's rights be terminated,
Okay.
that the kids' placement be continued and approved.
Were there previous conversations with me where you had indicated we were asking for her to be a possessory conservator and pay support?
Yes.
So at this point, what exactly are we asking the court to do?
Her rights be terminated.
All right, thank you, Ms. Elliott. Now, as a part of your duties, do you create family plans of service?
Yes.
And have you done that for Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And that family plan of service, does it aim to mitigate the reasons for removal?
Yes.
As well, was it uniquely tailored or specifically tailored to the needs of the case?
Yes.
Please identify 2 or 3 services for Ms. Johnson that you believe are unique to her.
Drug testing, individual therapy, and parenting.
Okay. And was her service plan made in order of the court at the status hearing?
Yes.
Your Honor, we offer petitioner's exhibit number 7, the status hearing order.
Right, objections?
No objection.
Petitioner 7 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to go ahead and offer petitioner's number 6 at this time. It's a temporary order following full adversary hearing.
All right, objections?
No objection.
Petitioner 6 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Heidi, with that status hearing order, petitioner's exhibit number 7, let's see here. At that time, Ms. Johnson was also ordered to drug screen. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, we asked for judicial notice of section 6.2 and exhibit number 7.
So noted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, specifically, Heidi, she was ordered to drug screen by hair follicle and urinalysis. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
As well as alcohol screen by 4 p.m. on March 30th of 2026. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Ms. Johnson comply with that order to hair follicle drug screen?
No, ma'am.
Did she comply with the order to urinalysis screen?
No, ma'am.
Did she comply with the order to alcohol screen?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And she was present for that hearing as well. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
As far as that status hearing order, can you identify what services she was ordered to do and state whether or not she did each one?
Drug testing, parenting, counseling, and therapy, and rational behavior therapy.
All right. And did she complete any of those?
No, ma'am.
And she was also ordered to drug screen at the adversary hearing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, we asked for judicial notice of section 21 in petitioner's exhibit number 6.
All right, so noted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Heidi, she was ordered to hair follicle drug screen and urinalysis drug screen. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she do either one of those?
No, ma'am.
She was also ordered to alcohol screen. Did she do that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you believe that Ms. Johnson has mitigated the reasons for removal?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And did she also state at the adversary hearing, or rather the status hearing, that she wanted to relinquish her rights?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, was a copy of that relinquishment provided to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she ever turn it back to you?
No, ma'am.
Can you please describe in detail the department's reasonable efforts to reunify the family?
Department has made service plans for Kia, face-to-face visits.
And when you say face-to-face visits, is that with you?
Yes. Well, since she moved to Kansas, I've had to do the visits over the phone.
Okay. And are those visits done monthly?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is the purpose of those monthly visits with Ms. Johnson?
For any updates on her employment, residence, and to follow up on any services.
And have you met each month with Ms. Johnson in this case?
Yes.
And each time have you inquired about her family plan of service?
Yes.
And has she started any services?
No, ma'am.
Do you think it's in the children's best interest that Andrew Miles be named the sole managing conservator?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please tell me why?
They are happy with Andrew. Their needs are met. They're doing great in school. And they're doing great.
Okay. And in regards to Kia Johnson, can you please explain in detail why it's in the children's best interest that her parental rights be terminated?
They just didn't feel like they were protected by Kia. Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe that Ms. Johnson has the parental abilities to provide the children with a safe environment?
No, ma'am.
Do you believe that she continues to present a physical danger to the children?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe that she also presents a danger to the children's emotional health?
Yes.
What are the department's plans for the children?
To let them remain with their dad, where they're provided for and taken care of.
Okay. And are we also asking the court to stop Mr. Miles's child support since May of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that of your understanding of when the kids began to live with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see. I pass the witness.
Ms. Mullinax?
Ms. Elliott, there's never been any concerns with Andrew Miles during this case. Is that correct?
No, ma'am, none at all.
The kids have been placed with him the whole time and have done very well, correct?
Yes.
I pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Naranjo?
Miss Elliott, based on your involvement in this case and the testimony and evidence that's been presented today, do you believe that Ms. Johnson has knowingly placed or knowingly allowed the children to remain in conditions or surroundings which endanger their physical or emotional well-being?
Yes.
Based on your involvement in the case and based on the evidence and testimony provided today, do you also believe that Ms. Johnson engaged in conduct or knowingly placed the children with persons who engaged in conduct which could endanger their physical or emotional well-being?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Johnson, any questions for Ms. Elliott?
Yes, sir. During the time that the kids were in physical or in danger or being placed with somebody, how long ago was that?
It was before I received the case.
Okay, is the purpose of all this family-based services and everything, is the purpose to change my behavior and to provide a safe environment for them?
Yes.
So during this whole time, I have taken rational behavior training. I have taken parenting classes. I have done drug tests prior. So would you say all those are reasonable efforts to be the responsible parent I should have been?
During your FBSS case, those things were done, but not during this case.
Do you think doing them 2 times is going to make a difference? Or do you think I have the knowledge?
Your
I
Honor,
think they-
objection, speculation.
Sustained. Next question.
Okay. Did I not make reasonable efforts to go take the drug test?
You did one time that I know of.
Okay. Now, whenever it was ordered that I go take the drug test, did I have proper paperwork?
Yes, you did.
No, for Kansas, because I was already in Kansas at that point.
Objection, Your Honor. If she could give a time frame, I don't know if she's talking about the order from the adversary hearing or the status hearing.
Actually, both of them. Because the first one that was sent, that should be on record, I don't know if it is or not, was during the time I was already in Kansas. The second one, I was sent the paperwork and I went to take the drug test and they didn't have the testing stuff to do that. And I called you, correct?
Your Honor, I'm going to have to object at this point. I think she's testifying. I don't think she means to, but I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, you'll get a chance to testify if you want to, Ms. Johnson, but right now you just ask questions.
Okay, did I not call you during the time I went to go take my drug test and make you aware that they did not have the proper equipment?
Yes, and I sent it in and it was there the next day when you agreed to go the next day.
I said if I was able to.
You're testifying again.
Is it true? Okay. Is it true that if I just leave work, I could lose my job and that puts the case at risk?
Objection,
well.
speculation.
Sustained.
Okay. For the Miles children, do you know the reason why they went from wanting to see me to not wanting to see me at all?
All they told me back in March was that they weren't protected. That they didn't feel safe in the environment.
And how long ago were they in that environment?
I'm not for sure how long they were in that environment.
No, how long ago has it been since they've been in that environment?
It was before March, I received this case, before May.
Okay, so during this entire case, well, you haven't been present the entire case, I can't ask you that. But do you think that, or no, not even think, is it possible that they could come back to this environment and be happy?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
All right, no further questions.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with my camera. All right. Anyone have further questions for Ms. Elliott?
I have a follow-up for Miss Elliott.
Okay.
Heidi, it looks like the adversary hearing occurred on February 20th of 2026. Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you receive information from Ms. Johnson that she had moved out of Amarillo?
It was after that.
It was for sure after that.
Mm-hmm.
Was it prior to the status hearing?
Yes.
Okay. So Ms. Johnson's explanation of why she didn't comply with the court-ordered drug screen in the adversary hearing doesn't sound correct. Would you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Anyone else? All right. Ms. Elliott, Mr. Miles testified that Ms. Johnson last saw the children was in November of last year. Do you show when the last time she had visitation was?
I do not, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? All right. Then, Ms. Gutierrez, any other witnesses?
No other witnesses, Your Honor. The department rests. We do ask for Mr. Miles's child support to be stopped as of June 1st of 2025. We ask that he be named the sole managing conservator of the children. We ask for termination of Ms. Johnson's parental rights as well.
All right. All right. Ms. Mullinax, did you have any witnesses?
I have no witnesses, Your Honor, but I'm agreeable with the department's requests.
Okay. Ms. Naranjo, witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Johnson, do you have any witnesses or do you want to give further testimony?
Yes, I would like to testify.
All right. If you'd raise your right hand, you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
All right. You can tell me what you want to tell me.
Okay. The reason for me not signing over my rights, because I find it very hard to believe that they went from loving me and wanting to be with me to they absolutely want no visitation. And at first I was like, yeah, I'm gonna relinquish it, but it just didn't sit right in my head. The older two, if they want to stay there, I'm okay with it. That's fine. Well, I still want to see them. Those are my babies. Like, what mother in their right mind, loving their children? And I've raised the children by myself, not with Andrew's help, not with the other parents' help, any of the parents' help. I've been doing this on my own. I love my kids. Yes, it was in a domestic violence relationship, which I have not been in that since July 5th of 2025. My kids have not been in danger, even the older ones, but the Miles children have not. Even in July 5th of 2025, the kids were not present to be in that situation. I did what I had to do to protect my kids and to get that guy away, because he still has stalking charges and all that, because he was not allowed in the house. I have done my parenting classes. I've done everything that I needed to do. And I did that immediately. You've been the judge over this entire case. I love my children. I'm doing everything I can do for my kids. I mean, I'm at a point where it's like, sorry. This is the most stressful thing in my life I've ever been through, because all I've ever been is a mom. I don't want my rights terminated because I love my kids. I don't care how much child support I'd ever have to pay. I want to see them. I want to see them grow. I want to see them prosper. Those are my life. I have been on the right path and doing everything I need to do to be a good mom. Everything that they have brought against to the court is not about me being a mom. It was about the actions I did outside of being a mom. I just want to say that I want to see my kids. I know that if they're with him and he has sole managing conservatorship and I'm not allowed to see them, he will not let me see them. I've been a co-parent to him, even whenever he was in San Antonio and he was left with my kids on the street by his ex or by his current girlfriend. I had to drive to Houston from Amarillo the same night to go get my kids. That happened 2 times. There's always somebody or somewhere. I mean, what is being a perfect parent? He's had flaws. I've had flaws. Everybody has had flaws. It's about working on it and being better. And that was the point of this whole case. That is still the point of this whole case, is to be a better person. And that's what I'm striving to be. That's all, Your Honor.
Anyone else have questions for Ms. Johnson?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Ms. Johnson, you said you hadn't been in a domestic violence relationship since the summer of 2025. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
So what occurred on the night or the day of December 7th of 2025 that resulted in police involvement?
I was at Daniel's house. I didn't want to drive home, so a friend was driving my car, and
Ms. Johnson,
I was too drunk to drive.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to ask you to start your answer over. You broke up and I missed the first part of that. Can you restart your answer, please?
Yes. That night, I was at Daniel's house. We were drinking, and I was too drunk to drive home. So a friend was with me, not a boyfriend, no relationship. A friend was with me, and I told him, I was like, well, I'm too drunk to drive. Can you please drive? And so he was driving, but he was driving stupid. And so I'm like, no, at the next stop sign, I turned off my car. And at that time, I guess he was too drunk too, because that's whenever he bit me in my freaking face. And I got out of the car.
Language, Ms. Johnson.
Okay. But I got out of the car because I did no longer want to be in the car. I'm trying to get out of the situation. It wasn't that it was a physical fight. It wasn't anything that it was like, well, not on my end. But I was trying to be responsible and not drink and drive. And it turned out worse than what it should have been. So I got out of the car and I took off walking. And that's whenever the police came. And you've seen the pictures. Y'all see the pictures. It was embarrassing. It was everything. I mean, that's what happened that night. But it
So
wasn't a
who-
domestic relationship. My kids were not involved. My kids were nowhere around. I did not put my kids in any danger.
Who was it that hurt you?
It was Brandon
What is Brandon's last name?
Rice.
And he's the one that the court actually ordered not to reside at your house. Is that correct?
Yes, and he was not residing at my house at that time.
But you saw him again, and this incident occurred in December of 2025, correct?
Yeah, I seen him again. He was my friend.
Okay, now you mentioned that you had done all the services. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
However, that was during the family-based case and not since the start of this removal case. Is that correct?
What makes a difference?
That's not an answer. That's a question. That's a yes or no
That's correct.
question.
That is correct.
Okay, so since the start of this removal case, have you done your parenting?
No, I asked for a copy of the service plan, which I have not received.
Okay, but we have you in our service contacts. And so, yeah, that was
What?
e-filed to you. That was sent to you. That was
When?
sent to you. Your Honor, I asked for judicial notice of that status hearing order again, including the e-file certificate at the end.
When was that sent to me?
I've taken notice of it already.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Ms. Johnson, you agree that all these services were reordered by the court. Is that correct?
I don't agree because I did not see it.
Well, you were present in that hearing, correct?
What was ordered was the drug testing.
Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Right. Anyone else have questions for Ms. Johnson?
Just briefly, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Johnson, where do you work?
I work at FedEx.
And how much do you make at FedEx?
It's a daily rate. So it could be from it's $150 a day or $300 a day. It just depends.
And on average, what's your daily rate?
On contingency, which is why I'm in Kansas right now, is $300.
So you make
It's a
300 a day?
month-to-month contract.
And do you have health insurance through this employment?
No.
I'll pass the witness.
All right. Anyone else?
Sure. Ms. Johnson, how many days a week do you work?
Sometimes 3, sometimes 6.
And what
On
is your average?
contingency, I work 7 days a week.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Anyone else? All right, then. Any further witnesses from anyone? All right, then. I'm going to take about a 5-minute break, and then I'll be back, and I'll get recommendations from Ms. Naranjo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, I forgot to make one more request, if I may, very briefly. In the event that the court does terminate Ms. Johnson's rights, we ask for a finding of reasonable efforts to reunify.
All right, I will make those findings regardless of the court's ruling.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Naranjo, your recommendations?
Your Honor, I do believe it's in the children's best interest that Ms. Johnson's rights be terminated today and that Mr. Miles be named the sole managing conservator of the children. If the court does decide not to terminate Ms. Johnson's rights, I would ask that child support be set based on her testimony today.
All right, thank you. All right, then, based upon the evidence I've heard today, as well as the exhibits that have been admitted, I do find, first of all, that it's in the best interests of the children, Amaya Miles, Malaysia Miles, and Jokori Miles, that the parental rights of the mother, Kia Johnson, be terminated. I'll terminate those rights today based on Texas Family Code Section 161.001, subsection B1D and E. I further find that it's in the 3 children's best interest that Father Andrew Miles be appointed sole permanent managing conservator. I also will make a finding that Mr. Miles' child support, it's ordered that his child support should have and did, I'll order that it cease, and any medical support also as of June 1, 2025. The department and all other court-appointed relationships will be dismissed after all appellate and de novo periods have expired. Ms. Johnson, I need to admonish you on a couple of things, 3 things actually.
Yes, sir.
You have the right to ask for what's called a de novo hearing before the referring court. In that case, the referring court would be the 251st District Court of Randall County, Texas. To do so, you must file with the Randall County District Clerk and give notice to the 251st District Court of your intent to ask for a de novo hearing before the referring court, not later than the third working day after the date you receive notice of the court's ruling, which you just received notice of. So 3 working days from today's date.
Okay.
If you file that de novo request, you have to specifically set out the issues that you want presented to the referring court when you have that hearing. Also, you have the right to appeal the court's decision to the Court of Appeals, 7th Court of Appeals in Amarillo. If you do that, this is what's called an accelerated appeal. You must file a notice of appeal within 20 days after the date that I signed the judgment, which I've just rendered. So it's not from today, it's from when they present me the order and I sign it.
Okay.
And then finally, you have the right to an attorney for your appeal. If you can't afford an attorney, you have the right to ask the court to consider whether or not you're entitled to a court-appointed attorney at no cost to you. You do that by filing an affidavit of indigency, which you can get from my office, probably from anyone with St. Francis or the department. It has to be filled out completely and presented back to my office before I can consider whether or not you're entitled to a court-appointed attorney. That I would have to find that you're indigent. Do you understand all? You understand all the rights I've just explained to you?
I do.
Okay, thank you. All right, since we have a final resolution in this case, there'll be no further hearing set. We will stand in recess on this case. This is a compliance hearing following an order to participate involving the Miles, Suarez, Johnson, Taylor children.
Elaine, who do you work for?
I work for the Department of Family and Protective Services.
And what do you do for them?
I'm a family-based safety services worker.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and ask you for an update on the children. Would you like to start with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, Aaliyah is doing well. She's kind of, last time we talked, she had just returned to Kia's care and was kind of talking about going back to public school, but at this time she's still doing some online schooling. When I visited with her at the house, she is a little bit more quiet and reserved, doesn't say a whole lot. But Kia has mentioned that she feels like she's struggling with the fact that the other kids are still out of the home. I spoke with Kia about her potentially doing some counseling, and she didn't feel like Aaliyah would engage even if we were to send her to therapy. And so that's kind of where we're at with Aaliyah. Like I said, she is very quiet and is just kind of there at the house. In regards to Odyssey, she is still in placement with her grandmother, Mary Moore. She's doing well in school. There was an incident where she had gotten into a fight with another student, but that has resolved and she's doing fine now. She has spoken about having a desire to visit Kia, to go and visit her on the weekends, but has indicated she still wanted to stay with her grandmother. And from my understanding and speaking with Kia and with Mary, they both came to an agreement that that's what they would do, that Odyssey would continue in Mary's care, and then she would come on the weekends to visit with Kia, pending approval at this hearing. Let's see. As far as Amaya has continued to be with her dad, Andrew Miles, and DeSoto. My contact with her is usually just via Zoom visits. There's another worker who goes out there and sees her regularly. They say that she's doing well. She's attending ballet, and she had kind of talked about a recital she had coming up in December. She has been the one kid in that household of those 3 kids, the Miles children, Jokori and Malaysia and Amaya. She's the one child who's really voiced a desire to return to Kia's care. She has continued to speak about the violence between Kia and her boyfriend, Kevon, while she's in therapy. And she's also continued to talk about witnessing Jokori and Malaysia and the abuse that they've suffered by Kia, and just not wanting to be witness to that anymore. But she really does miss her mom and has voiced a strong desire to return to Kia's care. Jokori, he's also still there with his dad, Andrew. He's doing really well in school and has showed quite a bit of improvement in his grades while being out there. And he's also attending counseling with the same therapist that Amaya is going to. He has been pretty adamant about staying with his dad. All three kids did have a face-to-face visit with Kia this last Friday, and the therapist visited with the children after that visit, and Jokori has continued to report not wanting to return to Kia's care because of the abuse that he suffered. He does talk about the domestic violence as well between Kia and her boyfriend. From my understanding, that visit did go good this last Friday between Kia and the kiddos. As far as Malaysia, she is still there as well with her dad. One thing that I have noticed during the visits that I've monitored every Friday is that Malaysia and Jokori hadn't really been getting on those visits. It really was Amaya. Up until this last visit, not this Friday, but the previous Friday, Malaysia actually engaged and was sitting through the entire visit with Kia. During that time, she did indicate that she wanted to return to Kia's care, that she missed Kia. And so, let me see. But she has continued to voice being worried about going back home and potentially being abused again by Kia. She did mention that she was taking like the brunt of the physical abuse, and that has been verified by some of the children in the home. I did speak with the school down here because I spoke with Kia about the outcries that Malaysia was making, and she said it was really because she was acting up in school and then coming home, and then she would physically discipline her. The school here also verified that she was having quite a bit of outcries while she was going to school here in the Amarillo, or quite a bit of disciplinary issues at school while she was here. Since she's been living where she currently is, there have not been any behavioral issues in school there, from my understanding. As far as Zanaya, she is doing well. She's attending school. She's on the hip hop dance team here at Amarillo High. She's working on getting her driver's license soon, and she's been attending counseling, but has been really slow to really open up to that therapist. But she's had a couple of missed appointments, but Kia's been communicative with that therapist and making sure that she reschedules. So.
Thank you, Elaine. Can we get an update on, well, actually, let me ask a different question first. Did anybody else attend that visit this past Friday that was in person between Kia, Malaysia, Jokori, and Amaya?
So, as far as the Kia, she did have other children with her. She had Zanaya and Aaliyah, and she also had Junior, Desmond, go down there with her for the visit. And then we had a worker that monitored that visit, and the therapist was there at the visit as well.
Okay. And is that therapist the therapist of Amaya, Jokori, and Malaysia?
Yes, ma'am.
Did that therapist make any recommendations as far as services for the kids or for mom that we need to ask the court about?
Yeah, she felt that she did say that in speaking with the kids that they do miss their mom, and they've talked about missing her and eventually wanting to return to her care. But the therapist, she does feel like the kids have quite a bit of trauma. She indicated that there's a lot of things that they're still needing to work through, including she visited with Kia, and she felt like Kia needed to continue in therapy as well, and that there needed to be some sort of family counseling before reunification.
Okay. Is there a certain time frame we're asking the court to consider family counseling to begin, or are we holding off until a recommendation from mom's therapist? What's the plan, Elaine?
So I spoke with mom's therapist, and she indicated that she would be working with Kia more like on some parenting, and they have an anger management curriculum as well that she said she can work with her on, and kind of deciphering like the appropriate discipline and inappropriate discipline with the kids. And so I think once she starts making headway with that, and then the therapist out there with the kids is in agreement, I really think that it's something that's going to have to be based on the children. And I mean, I couldn't really put a time frame on that, because it's important that they work through the concerning outcries that they've made before reunification.
All right, Elaine, let me ask you an additional question. In regards to mom's therapist saying that she has an anger program that mom can work through, does she intend to work that anger management program into her individual therapy with Ms. Johnson, or is it a separate program with family support services?
It's going to be through the therapy, through the individual therapy.
Okay. And are we asking the court to order that today?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, what type of program?
Anger management program through the mother's individual therapy.
But for mother alone, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Through her therapist. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay. How is Ms. Johnson doing on her services?
Service-wise, she's doing really well. I think at this point, the only thing that we had left as far as services was the individual counseling. And the last I spoke to the therapist on November the 5th was that she had attended 3 out of the 8 to 12 sessions that she recommended. So we're still at the beginning stages of the therapy, but she seems to be doing well in that.
Okay. Have you been visiting the home of Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
How are Odyssey and Zanaya doing back at home?
So Odyssey is still with her grandma. It's actually Zanaya and Aaliyah that are home.
Oh, I apologize.
It's okay. They seem to be doing well. We have had some concerns with there being another resident that was living in the home. And I've spoken to the girls about that.
Okay. And who was that resident?
So shortly after the last hearing that we had, I was informed that there was another male that was living in the home that had just discharged from TDCJ and was on a leg monitor. When I spoke with Kia about it, his name is Brandon Rice. She indicated that he was just a friend during our initial visit, and that he was living in the back house, which she claims is a separate residence. I did ask her for documentation showing that that's actually a different residence, but I've never received anything of that nature. Later on, in a different conversation I had with her, she did indicate that they were in a relationship. So this was somebody that she's, I guess, talking to.
And then speaking with the children, Aaliyah and Zanaya, have they spent time with this man?
Yes, they explained that that they go to the back house with Kia, and they go and have dinner sometimes back there with him or watch football. I've verified this with another child that has went over to visit Desmond. He's also indicated having contact with this male. So I've spoken with them about, appropriate and inappropriate contact. The kids haven't mentioned anything at this time that there's any inappropriate contact occurring with this individual.
Does it concern you that during an open CPS legal case that Ms. Johnson has decided to move a recent parolee onto her property?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that also cause you concern for her protective capacity and her ability to identify when things may be inappropriate or possibly unsafe for her children?
Yes, ma'am.
Does it also cause you concern for Ms. Johnson herself?
Yes.
Was there anybody else, or has there been anybody else that Ms. Johnson has moved onto the property or into her home?
Yes, about the same time that I received this information, I was also told that her cousin Heather Brown and her boyfriend were living in the actual like the residence with Kia and the two girls. This was after Zanaya and Aaliyah were returned to her care.
And were there any concerns with the boyfriend of Heather?
There was concerns with some criminal history. And when I spoke with them about it, Kia just indicated that they just come and stay the night there. That they weren't there during the day with the girls, they would just come at night. So
does that still cause you concern?
Yes.
Now, in regards to Brandon Rice, do you have any information on what he was in TDCJ for?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And what was that?
It was for burglary.
Are Heather and her boyfriend still residing with Miss Johnson?
No, ma'am. She had indicated that they had moved out. I want to say maybe about a few weeks after I had spoken to her about my concerns with them living in the home.
And is Brandon Rice still on the property?
So when I spoke with Kia and I spoke with his parole officer, they'd indicated he would be off of his leg monitor on the 14th and off of parole, which was this last Friday. And she had reported at that time that he would no longer be living there at the residence. My concern with that is when she did attend the visit with the kids on Friday, they had seen her with a hickey on her neck. So I don't know where that came from or who, but it is concerning because she had indicated that he was moving out and that they were no longer in a relationship. So
do you have any confirmation from Ms. Johnson that Mr. Rice has indeed moved out?
No, other than us speaking about it, no, ma'am.
Okay. And to be fair, have you spoken with Ms. Johnson since Friday?
No.
Okay. So it's possible he has, but we don't know.
Yes, ma'am.
Other than anger management for Ms. Johnson to work through in her therapy, are there any other services we are asking the court to order?
Just the individual and the family therapy once it's recommended, and the anger management.
And when you say individual therapy when it's recommended, that's already in her service plan, correct?
Yes,
family. Excuse me, Ms. Gutierrez, family therapy, not individual therapy.
Okay. Family therapy. Are there any other requests we have for the court today?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I believe we received some information from the mother's attorney that there were concerns about the Miles father, Mr. Miles, maybe having some influence over the children, or at least one child, about whether or not mom wanted her. Can you give us some details about those concerns?
Yes. So Malaysia, she had actually attended a whole visit, like I said, with Kia virtually on the 7th. And I was monitoring that, and she had told Kia that her dad had said that Kia only wanted Amaya, not her and Jokori. And so Kia had indicated that wasn't true, that she wanted all of the kids, that she would do whatever she needed to have them all back. And so whenever I spoke to Andrew about it, he did indicate that him and his fiance have spoken about the fact that she was willing to leave the other two kids there if they didn't want to come home, but that she really wanted Amaya. And so they felt as though maybe the kids had overheard them say that, and that it was taken out of context that she didn't want them, when that's not the case.
Okay, so to your knowledge, this wasn't a conversation that Mr. Miles had directly with any of the children. Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Pass the witness.
All right. Somebody can help me. I'm showing, if I calculated it right, do we have a dismissal date of January 23rd?
I think, Your Honor, that this was signed on, let me see, 8/7/2023.
Okay.
5 was that signature date, and it runs 180 days from that date, which I have calculated as
It'd be later.
February. I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. February what?
I think it's February 3rd, 2026.
Okay. I was just going back through my notes. I was counting from the day that I ordered the participation. So, okay. So we're not up to we're not up to the dismissal date yet. So, okay.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Ms. Graff, questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Lucero, were you listening, monitoring or listening to that visit on Friday the 14th that Mom had with the children, and the therapist was also involved?
No, ma'am.
You were not.
No.
Have you talked to the therapist about what she observed and heard at that visit?
Yes.
Did you hear anything about the children calling the mother by their first name rather than calling her mom?
I didn't hear anything from the therapist, but Kia did text me that today.
Are you concerned that the father is undermining the mother's relationship with the children?
I've never witnessed anything like that and of that nature, but there again, I'm not the worker that goes out to see the family face to face. There's another worker out there in the area that does. And when I've spoken to them, they've never mentioned anything like that.
Okay, thank you. I will pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Nowak?
I don't have any questions, Judge.
All right. All right, Ms. Gutierrez, anything further from the department?
Judge, I had a couple
Ms. Wiggins.
questions.
Sorry, Ms. Wiggins.
That's okay. Thank you, Judge.
Ms.
Ms. Lucero, in regards to Brandon Rice, did the mother indicate how she had met him?
Yes, she said she had known him for quite some time, that they have previously been in the youth center together when they were younger as kids.
Okay. And in regards to the cousin, Heather Brown, was that the same cousin that was placement of the two old, or one of the older children?
Yes, it was for Zanaya and Aaliyah.
Okay. And that was the cousin that allowed Zanaya to be abused by her brother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That happened on her when they were there, yeah.
Okay. And so did we talk to Mom about distancing ourselves between this cousin due to the fact that the sexual abuse happened?
Yes, I did talk to her about my concerns with her and the boyfriend living there.
Okay. Do you think it would be a reasonable request to just have the court order that this Heather Brown not reside in the residence during the pendency of this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then in regards to the mom and discussing the abuse or the discipline that Mom labeled it about school, did you discuss with her that obviously the two older children cannot, once in a CPS case, cannot be disciplined via anything physical?
I haven't spoken with her about that. No.
Okay. Can you just talk to her about that? 'Cause especially since I guess Anaya is about to start at Fannin. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do we know why she hasn't started yet?
Aaliyah, you mean?
Aaliyah, I'm sorry, yes.
So prior to us even being involved, there was a lot of bullying going on with Aaliyah. This is what she mentioned to the investigator. She does have a skin condition due to severe allergies. And so they were already kind of looking at doing homeschool. And so whenever we got involved and there was so much movement of the kids being placed elsewhere, they went ahead and moved forward with the online schooling. And so that's why they've continued doing the online schooling. She's kind of talked about it, and I asked her about going back to school, and she said she wasn't sure if she wanted to yet.
Okay. So it's possible if she did go back, it would be Fannin, but right now she's still doing online school.
Yes.
Okay. And is the mother doing well with facilitating that for Aaliyah?
Yes, she has her Chromebook and everything.
Okay.
Through the program.
Okay, perfect. And when Mom discussed disciplining because of school behavior, is that something that is going to be addressed with this anger management class and her individual counseling about appropriate discipline?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. And does Mom understand that maybe that the child didn't see that as discipline, that she saw it as abuse at this point?
So I know that that's something that the therapist that's out there with the kids had mentioned, kind of speaking with her about that. Even though she didn't see it as abuse, that these kids are, they are feeling like it was excessive and that it was abuse.
Okay. And will the anger management class or the individual therapy address appropriate types of discipline and non-physical ways to discipline a child?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other program that you can think of that addresses that kind of class or anything through probation?
So I had spoken with the therapist she actually works at Family Support Services where they do WAVE. And I asked her about potentially doing WAVE, and she said that Kia wouldn't qualify for that because it is more based on intimate partner violence. Whenever the female is a perpetrator, and in the situation between Kia and Kevon, Kia was listed as a victim because of all the protective orders and everything that was in place, and because her charge was dropped, that they would not recommend her for that program.
Okay, so at this point, only the individual therapy will be addressing that.
And the therapist was going to do the anger management and talking about the inappropriate and appropriate discipline.
Okay. All right. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Anyone else? Questions for Ms. Lucero?
I have some follow-up.
Go ahead.
Ms. Lucero, is it correct that one of the children outcried about a tooth being knocked out from being hit by Ms. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
And which child was that?
Ms. Malaysia.
And did the other children corroborate that story?
Yeah, some of the other kids have talked about it as well.
And is it correct that one of the children also received a bloody nose from Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And which child was that?
Jokori.
And have the other children talked about that as well?
Yes.
So when we're talking about being disciplined, it sounds like it was excessive discipline. Would you agree?
Yes.
And would you agree that these children have trauma from those experiences?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I pass the witness again, Your Honor.
Anyone else? Yeah.
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Lucero, Ms. Gutierrez brought up a good point. Any type of discipline right now, these kids have experienced trauma and the therapists say that they still need to work on the trauma. It's not unreasonable to think that these kids might consider any kind of discipline abuse because of what they've been through. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Gutierrez, did you have anything further?
I did, Your Honor. I wanted to see if Ms. Johnson is a part of the hearing still.
Oh, is she gone? Oh yeah, she ended up back in my waiting room.
Okay. And Meredith, I'd like to ask Ms. Johnson just to find out whether or not Brandon is still in the home. Did you want me to call her as a witness or do you prefer to?
Either way, it's fine. I wanted to know that too.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
Since it was supposed to occur on Friday, so I haven't had a chance to ask her that. So yes.
Yeah, I want to know too. So I want to know who's living in the house, whether front house, back house, on the property.
Okay, the department calls Kia Johnson as its witness.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, if you'd unmute, can you hear us?
Yeah, Sam, can you hear me?
Yeah, you need to stay still wherever you're at.
Let me get it.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Okay.
All right, raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
All right, I don't know who's doing it, Ms. Gutierrez or Ms. Graff.
I can start, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Johnson, I understand from the testimony today that there was a Brandon Rice living in your home. Is that correct?
It's not in the home. There's a back house. It's a separate house.
Okay.
He's in the back.
And you're cutting out for me. Let's try it again. So it sounded like you said Brandon Bryce was living in the back house. Is that correct?
Yes, it's separate property. So there's a separate fence, like a privacy fence. It's a separate property. The only reason why they are counting it as one is because my landlord, I guess the bills are all tied together. So the landlord gave me a better price for renting on both, so she didn't have to deal with the bills part. But it's a separate property.
And in regards to Mr. Rice, is he still living in that back house?
No, ma'am. He moved out as far as the 14th whenever he got off of his leg monitor.
Okay. What adults are living in the home with you at this time?
Just myself.
And are Aaliyah and Zanaya the only children that are back in the home with you at this time?
Yes, and Junior or Desmond, he comes as on the weekends or whatever days he wants.
Okay, so just to clarify, it's just you and the two girls living in that home right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay, pass the witness, Your Honor.
Anyone else have questions for Ms. Johnson? All right, then. Ms. Gutierrez, anything else from the department?
Nothing else from the department. We rest. I do show that dismissal date as February 3rd of 2026. So we're asking for a hearing just a little before then.
Yeah, you can be thinking about it. I thought the same thing. I've got January 26th or February 2nd. So y'all be thinking about that.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Graff, did you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor. I think that the information that we've conveyed is regarding our concerns about Mr. Miles have been expressed both to Ms. Lucero, and the court has heard us this morning. We'd like Ms. Lucero to keep an eye on this because it appears that from her testimony that both of the two girls in Mr. Miles' home would like to return home to mom. So we'd like to work toward that goal as soon as possible.
Okay. All right. Mr. Nowak, did you have any witnesses?
No witnesses. Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Wiggins?
I have no witnesses, Judge.
All right. Then, Mr. Nowak, your recommendations as guardian ad litem for the children?
Yes, sir. Continue the placements, continue services. With Odyssey, who's living with grandma, but she wants to visit mom on weekends, do what we can to support that in a safe manner, obviously. With the Miles children, I believe the therapist recommended family counseling before reunification on the ones that aren't reunified. Judge, I would recommend that. Recommend mom's anger management. And with respect to, I understand that Brandon Wright is off the property. I get it. It's a second house, but I'd like the court to order that, no new adults in the house without court approval, whether it's the house or on the property. And the concerning thing is this guy's a felon.
Yeah.
Same with the cousin and the cousin's boyfriend. There's just too many moving parts with all these different kids, Judge. I think we need to make it simple for the children.
I agree.
Those are my recommendations, Judge. I think I hit everything. I did. Thank you, Judge.
Okay. All right.
Your Honor.
What? Who's talking?
Yeah.
Your Honor, it's Ms. Graff.
Wait, let's stop. Ms.
Sorry.
Graff, you first, and then Ms. Johnson. You're both talking, and I can't hear either one of you. Ms. Graff, what were you saying?
I was saying my client is in agreement that we do family counseling. She mentioned that to me recently, and she's in agreement, would like to start that as soon as possible.
All right. Ms. Johnson, you were saying something. I couldn't hear you.
I don't understand what we're going from here. Like, what are the goals for me to get my babies back?
Well, that's what we're doing. You've still got, they're recommending family counseling when it's recommended by your therapist. They're recommending you do anger management through your therapist. So there's some things you still need to do to get your babies back. So, and I'm getting ready to order what you have to do. So.
Okay. Can I mention that, with the children, like first of all, they were in tears, even me leaving from seeing them Friday. I do have to say that they're like breaking down. It's hard for my kids at home as well. And also, I haven't had any anger. Like, I can take it because I'll do whatever I need to do. But I haven't had any anger issues. And then also, like, for them to come home and be able to do family counseling with us as a family, I feel like that would be very beneficial. I don't want to let the case go because I feel like, one, they help pay for the counseling, and that's something I would love. My kids haven't expressed anything as far as them not wanting to be home. I know in the CPS investigation,
Okay, listen, I've heard all I need to. You've got to take some responsibility for why these kids are suffered trauma. So,
yes, I do, and that's why I feel like the counseling would be so beneficial.
Okay, well, I'm getting ready. Once again, I'm getting ready to tell you what you have to do to get your babies home. So,
I've done so much.
I've heard all I need to hear, Miss Johnson. All right, I'm going to order that Miss Johnson continue to work the services that were previously ordered and that she will complete anger management through her current individual therapist. I'm going to order that family therapy will begin when recommended by the children's therapist. I'm going to order that no one reside in either of these two residences other than Miss Johnson and any of her children that have been returned to her. We got, Mr. Nowak was right. We got way too many moving people around here. And the whole emphasis of this case should be on the children and not on other adults in and out of that house or the back house, especially when we've got felons involved. So no one's to live on the property other than Miss Johnson and her children that have been returned to her by the court. All right, back to our next hearing. I gave you January 26th or February 3rd. When do you want the compliance hearing?
Elaine?
Yes.
Is either of those two dates better for you?
Either is fine with us.
Anybody have a scheduling conflict that you're aware of? I mean,
I don't have a conflict, but I just feel like given how close the second date is to the dismissal, I think the January 26th, if nobody has a conflict, would be the best date.
I'm better
I
with that
agree.
'cause my math's not really good, so I'm better with building in a little fudge factor there. So, all right, we will have our next compliance hearing on January 26, 2026. It will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties can ask their lawyers or anybody can go on the court's online docket a day or two before January 26th to see what time we'll have that hearing. That way you won't have to sit in the waiting room that long. So, y'all have a good week and we will be in recess.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.